Joe Montgomery here with the GBI in Calhoun. Thank you again for being here today. We're here for the purpose to announce an arrest in the June 11th, 2000 murder of Julie Ann McDonald on Arnold Lane here outside Lafayette. We've been working on this case. It's 24 years old, and we never give up on these cold cases. We've continually worked on it. We were fortunate enough in 2015, 2016 to reopen and re-examine the case, and made a lot of headway at that time. Then in 23 and 24, additional work was done on the case, and thanks to technology and the GBI Crime Lab, we were able to make more headway in this investigation. Last week, 63-year-old Clarence D. George of Birmingham, Alabama, was arrested by U.S. Marshals in Jefferson County, Alabama, on murder and aggravated assault warrants out of Walker County. He is currently being held in the Jefferson County, Alabama jail and is awaiting extradition to Walker County. Julie Ann McDonald was found on a Sunday afternoon, a hot Sunday afternoon, I recall, in her home. Evidence at the time revealed that she had been stabbed multiple times and had been deceased most likely for 3 or 4 days upon her body being found. The investigation did determine that George and the deceased, Miss McDonald, had known each other previously prior to the crime occurring. Currently, we are working with the Alabama authorities to extradite George back to Walker County. We have asked for a governor's warrant to be issued so that we can bring him back here to Walker County. At this time, I'll let Joe take the podium here and talk a little bit about the work that the GBI has done on the case.
Thanks, Dave. As the sheriff was saying, back in 2015, 2016, we reassigned the case. Detective Mike Hintz with the Walker County Sheriff's Office, Special Agent Herman Taylor, both made a tremendous progress in the case. We resubmitted evidence for testing, but those tests were unable to identify a perpetrator at the time. Later on, in 2023 and 24, the case was reassigned to Lieutenant Billy Davis with the Walker County Sheriff's Office and Daniel Nicholson with the GBI. They re-examined the whole case, they re-interviewed a lot of people, and we resubmitted the evidence for testing. The efforts of all these detectives and these agents led to the murder and arrest charges for Clarence George on Julie McDonald's murder. All I can say is there was some really good work done. It wasn't all scientific work, but there was a lot of good scientific work done. There was a lot of leg work and door knocking, which it takes. A lot of times in these cases, the GBI never stops working the unsolved homicides. They're reassigned a lot of times. And this is one of those cases. We had agents retire, agents transfer out, so we reassign that. So it's kind of like a football analogy. You have a group of guys that takes the ball so far, another group of guys that takes the ball a little bit farther, and finally a group of guys who finally take it and get the ball into evidence. Get the ball into the end zone. So, sorry. But it's a tremendous effort on all these agents and detectives, the hard work that they did, the dedication to keep going. Even sometimes they would run into a brick wall, and they kept going and never gave up. So my hat's off to them and the good work that they did, and I'm very proud of the work they did. This is the 6th unsolved case that the Region 1 Calhoun office has solved in the last 6 years. It's the second one Agent Nicholson's solved, so we're very proud of that work. We work anywhere from 30 to 50 death investigations a year, so when you have that many active cases, sometimes it is hard to go back and look at these old cases and solve them, but he took the time to do that along with Lieutenant Davis and made it happen. Another person that we haven't mentioned is Major Mike Freeman. Mike is always behind, wanting us to look at these cases and pushing and pushing and pushing. And Mike's kind of the driving force with a lot of these cases that got solved here in Walker County. because he's all the time, hey, we need to get back on this case. We need to get back on this case. So my hat's off to Mike for never forgetting about these cases and continuing to push everybody to move forward to solve them.
Any questions from the media?
How many suspects do you think that you guys cycled through before landing on the man from Alabama?
Probably 4 or 5. He had become a suspect early on in the case. He was found with Miss McDonald's checkbook in Catoosa County early on in the investigation. So he kind of came up on the radar then.
And Sheriff Wilson, you did say that that Mr. George, how old was he again? And you said
He's currently 63 years of age. He would have been 39 when the murder occurred back in 2000.
He said 63.
He's 63 now, currently.
And you said they known each other before the crime.
Yes, they knew each other. I wouldn't want to characterize it as friends because I don't think friends murders their friends, but they were acquaintances and they knew each other.
Okay.
It was not a stranger crime. It was a known, they knew each other.
Also, too, the United States Marshal Service has always been a great help with us. Whether we have suspects in Georgia or out of Georgia, we always contact them to help us do the manhunt because they're so good at it. Chip Ashley and the Marshals Task Force, I don't remember a time we haven't picked up the phone and called them and they haven't come through. So a big thank you to the Marshal Service and the work that they do.
Since making the arrest, have you guys been able to figure out a possible motive?
We're kind of leaving that for maybe it gets time that's closer to court. So.
And who you all say y'all working with? Is it the Birmingham PD or who is the Sheriff's Office?
He's currently housed at the Jefferson County, Alabama Sheriff's Office in the jail there, and we'll be working with those authorities to extradite him back here. The arrest was made using the Marshal's Service. They were able to locate him in the Alabama area.
And Sheriff Wilson, and you can answer as well, I guess what does it mean for you all to be able to finally solve this case? It's been a long time, just to bring him back here to Walker County.
Well, as Joe said, we all have a desire to never let these unsolved cases go unworked, and Major Freeman and the rest of the guys standing behind me here, I think it's always a drive we have. If it's possible to try to solve a case, we work hard toward that. But the biggest gratification that I've seen in working these cold cases is giving the family some relief, knowing that someone has been found guilty in a court of law by their peers, and that someone is held accountable for a death that's totally unnecessary. That's what I think is the biggest victory when you are able to get a conviction in these cases, and some sense of relief that the family can put it behind them and go on. Not that it gives them great joy, but I think, yes, just the fact that they know that a person has been held accountable for that death. When 24 years goes by, a lot of people have passed away from natural causes. That's the case here. We think we've reached out to a nephew and niece of the deceased, but several other members have passed away since then, and we'll never know on this side what it means, but there are families. Julie McDonald has a niece and a nephew out there, and we've made them aware of the arrest.
I think that's the biggest thing is the families, but also too is it tells everybody we're not going to give up on these cases. It may have been 24 years, it may have been 30 years. We're not going to give up on working these cases. So it's great satisfaction for us, and it also shows everyone out there that we're not giving up. So all you bad guys out there that have done these murders and you haven't been brought to justice, we're coming. May not be today, may not be tomorrow, but we're coming.
And on that, how did this one come back into light, or more in a general sense, how do these come back into light?
I think we look at these quite often, and I think we got to re-examining this one, and we felt like there was some more stuff that we could do on it. So, and a lot of that goes back to Major Freeman sitting back there reading all these cases all the time, saying, hey, we need to follow up on this lead, we need to follow up on that lead. And that's what happened in this case. Hey, we need to follow up on this lead.
And the advancement in technology lab work, you know, that advancement has helped law enforcement solve many crimes that have went unsolved that 25 years ago would not have been solved.
And it's getting better every day. So, I mean, it gives us hope for some of the other cases that we couldn't solve, 20 and 30 years ago. We have that ability now.
And who's the local agencies that were a part of this? I know it's the GBI Calhoun, or was it?
Yes.
GBI Calhoun and the Walker County Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Marshal's Office helped in the arrest, and the GBI Crime Lab was instrumental in their work. All right, if no other questions, we will finish up here. All right.
Thank you.
We will be sending photographs of the suspect and the victim out here in about the next 20 minutes or so, along with a short press release. I do want to make sure that the spelling on Clarence George is spelled C-L-E-R-A-N-C-E, D for the middle initial, and the last name is common spelling George. All right, thank you very much for being here.
Thank you. All right, thank you so much, Sheriff. And can we get, we meant to get your name too, so I guess we'll lower it there.
Joe Montgomery.
Good job. And then your title, please.